way to like advertise. Okay, so yeah, we're live right now.
Yes, we are. Now, I don't know if you can tell from my voice and the fact that I've been coughing monstrously this entire time, but I caught cold a couple of days ago. I'm feeling pretty okay. I'm not nearly as coughy as I would normally be at this point in the cold, so it's a pretty mild one, all things all told. So I'm willing to sit through this one. I'll just be talking a lot less and muting myself a lot more.
Yeah, okay, so I should like drive the show, and yet like right now I'm typing up. I'm typing up the it's like audience. I'm typing up what I'm going to say on like social media and the Discords on him right now. So it's like bear with me as I try to do that. But it's like as you can imagine, like typing something and then talking at the same time is very difficult because I'm splitting my concentration into two places. See, I'm talking to the audience right now. And not like typing up the post to look at.
I'm just realizing that muting myself in Zoom is not the same as muting myself in OBS.
Bit. And I'll go into the details as well a little bit, but like we are now joined by Taylor. But welcome to like those who are here right now at the Social Justice Alchemy at the Alchemy bench. Right now, it's like John Brockman sick, though he's going to be talking any less. I'll try to make sure to talk a lot more as well too, which is not hard.
And Isaiah, you're gonna have to step up to. And muting myself in Zoom is not the same as muting myself in OBS, and they could still hear me talking and coughing.
You don't have a mute button on your microphone?
There might be one.
That's the advantage of like the Yeti microphone. It's hard to hear me right now. I guess I'm talking away from it because it has a nice little mute.
I don't see one on my mic. No.
Some microphones don't have a mute button.
I would have to both mute myself in OBS and Zoom, so in order for everyone to be unable to hear me.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
but I do have things to talk about if we have a thing, because somebody responded to a thing I wrote on Reddit a year ago.
So, Isaiah, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are y'all?
I'm mad right now at Russell Kirok.
He's a liberal.
Well, there's that. But also, he was just like, every fucking time I was just trying to like end the show or end like a call or something like that. It's like, oh, real quick, and it's just one more thing, just one more thing, just one more thing, just one more thing, and it's just like.
Do you think he might be a CIA plant? Because that's what they do.
No, I don't know.
That's actually in their notes, is to be really fucking annoying.
But Kirok was like, he's just like not. I get it.
Hey, Joe.
The Patreon and member hangouts is your chance to talk to Steve, and everyone wants to talk to Steve as well too, and that's like great and all. But like,
well, because he is the cutie patootie.
Yeah. But then like Kirok wanted to talk about like guns and like gun culture and something like that. But like he then asked the question to Steve about crime. That was the last thing that he wanted to ask the question about. And to which I stopped like, okay, Russell, you said it was real quick, but honestly, to actually fully answer that question will be another dissertation. I said to Steve, might as well just make another video on this as well too.
Yeah, I agree, Joe. Kirok is pretty conservative for a liberal. He's not Steven Pinker or Mitt Romney level conservative. He's more Joe Biden level conservative, I think. Kind of feels like. And that he kind of wants things to be okay for people who are oppressed, but he doesn't want any sort of change. He just kind of feels like the people who are the best off should maybe be nicer. Hey, Mithril.
Hey, Mithril.
You know, I'm going to take another swig of Dayquil. And you hear me rooting around in the grocery bag that I got the other day. And now you hear me tearing the plastic tabs off the cap so I can get to my fucking drugs. My fucking... Give me my fucking Dayquil, you plastic bitch. God damn it. Stupid... No.
Okay, finally got the blurb, or like a type out. I'm not going to do tags on Tumblr and co-host, so like the reach for this one might not be as like far. That's fine. Because like I should have again. I was like I should have like done these things like ahead of time, not at the last minute. And it's worse. So because like
Oh, yeah.
Because like it's
That's
nice
my
that like
flu.
it is nice that like if I have things like ready as it were, so the, like once like we go live, and just copy and pasting things.
Honestly, I kind of would have thought you'd have this all like in a Google Doc ready to go.
I should do that too, or sticky notes is word too.
That's what I used to do back when I cared about things.
But like I don't know, sometimes I get lazy, and sometimes I'm running lax.
Hey, you work 70 hours a week and use Twitch on stream. Stream on Twitch.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you probably Twitch on stream too.
Yeah. I'm waiting for like Kirok to show up in the chat, honestly, right now.
If he does, don't you dare start a fight, because I have a different
Too late.
I want to start.
Okay, no. You start your fight then.
Nah.
Hey, is it the fight with like Kirok, or with the fight with like the guy who like commented on your?
Well, I mean, the thing is, this was I mean, according to Reddit, I literally posted it a year ago, and then the guy posted a response 3 days ago, and I was like, what the fuck? It was about a conspiracy theory that bugs me on the left. Have you ever heard of Gary Webb?
This name doesn't sound very familiar to me.
Yeah. Isaiah?
Oh, yeah?
Have you heard of Gary Webb?
No.
No. Not too surprising. This is pretty obscure, but it is a leftist conspiracy theory. So you may have heard that the U.S. government has occasionally assassinated people.
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
Yeah.
Like all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And you may have heard that the U.S. government has assassinated U.S. citizens. Such as Fred Thompson.
Wasn't this like the guy that joined Al-Qaeda, he got killed? You mean
that? No. This is a very different kind of guy. But Fred Thompson was a Black Panther who was assassinated by the U.S. government. And then there is also Malcolm X, who was assassinated, and possibly with cooperation from the U.S. government. And then there was Martin Luther King Jr., who was assassinated, possibly with cooperation from the U.S. government, possibly by the U.S. government.
I believe it was by the U.S. government.
That one is much more iffy. I don't know the full story there. I'm still trying to piece everything together. What I do know is that, actually, I'll go ahead and I'll pop a picture up on here. Let me, photograph MLK Jr. assassination. Nope, that's not the one. That's... There it is. That's the one I'm looking for. Open image, new tab. There we go. Okay, so it will now show on the tab, and you guys, Geek and Isaiah, will be able to see it. Showing on the screen in a couple seconds for you guys, showing on the screen now for everyone, is the photograph of the assassination of MLK. Or it's the photograph taken a few seconds after he got shot.
It's them pointing at where he got shot from.
Where they believe he got shot from, yes. You'll see that there are three men pointing at the roof across the street. And you'll see another man kneeling by MLK. One hand on the railing, another hand pressing a handkerchief to his head.
Mm-hmm.
Of the three, there are three men pointing, one man kneeling. Of those four men, which of those is an undercover police officer?
Can't see the picture. Wait.
Isaiah is on stream. So you have to actually have the tab open and then watch the stream.
It's kind of a trick question. The guy who responded appropriately to a guy being assassinated was the one who is an undercover police officer. He was the one who was possibly briefed on what was going to happen. Mm-hmm. The guy trying to save King's life possibly is also the one who was working with the CIA, the FBI. He was working with the FBI. He was an undercover police officer, and he would later go on to work with the CIA in Africa to destabilize governments there. It's hard to say. I don't know exactly how much agency the U.S. government had in the assassination of MLK or Malcolm X. I know they were involved to some degree in each. I don't know if they were directed in the same way they were with Fred Thompson, where it was definitely directed. But Gary Webb, his death was not directed. I can say that with confidence because Gary Webb was white. Gary Webb was a journalist. And in the mid-90s, he decided to do a deep dive into Iran-Contra. For the younger people here, which would include both of you, Iran-Contra was a scandal of the Reagan era. Where Congress forbade the Reagan White House and CIA from intervening with the Iran administration. There was a whole coup going on there. Or with, there was a thing in Central America where there was a coup going on there. And the CIA and Reagan said, fuck you, we're going to do that anyway.
Is this what the Sandinistas is? Is that what this is?
Not the Sandinistas, but Contra.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is where the cocaine epidemic came from. Because Contra funded themselves through cocaine trafficking. So even before Iran-Contra came to light, cocaine flooded the inner cities of America, flooded black communities. And black people were like, okay, the CIA is doing this deliberately.
Oh, I agree with that.
And that's that. I mean, and the fact that within a few years, Iran-Contra came to light, and all of a sudden, it's like the CIA is in bed with these narco traffickers. They were like, "See, fucking told you." So, Gary Webb, a couple years later, he decided to do a deep dive and say, "Okay, how deeply in bed was the CIA with these narco traffickers?" He decided to focus on that connection. And he found some pretty damning stuff. Gary Webb, like he was an investigative journalist. Like his boss joked calling him "Okay Bernstein," like Woodward and Bernstein, like the guys who did Watergate. His boss would repeatedly remind him, you don't just spend all your time down at City Hall, you also have column inches to fill. he wanted to be that guy, right? And he was dedicated to this shit. So he was a front page reporter, investigative journalist with the San Jose Mercury News. San Jose, in this case, is a suburb of San Francisco. Yeah. So this is a major newspaper, is what I'm saying. And he started publishing his expose. It was going to be a multi-part story on the front page of the newspaper, exposing the depths of the CIA's involvement with narco trafficking into the U.S. under Iran-Contra. But there's a slight problem. This is not 1987. This is the mid-90s. White America is doing okay. We have our first black president.
I'll be right back.
Oh, you're both leaving. Oh, I have to carry this by myself. I'm not charismatic. No.
No, I'm here. I'm just tired.
And by our first black president, I mean Bill Clinton. Because people actually called him that because fuck America.
Yeah, didn't what some
Arsenio Hall.
Yeah, Tommy Morrison said that too, right?
Yep. They called him that. The thing is, though, people didn't want to hear about the fuck-ups of the Reagan administration in the early mid-90s. So the entire machine came down on Gary Webb, and hard. The government, every fucking newspaper, everyone fucking pummeled him. Told him to go fuck himself. You're a worthless piece of shit. This is not something we want to hear about. You are not doing good journalism. I mean, his reputation was destroyed. He was radioactive. He was nuclear. And the San Jose Mercury News printed a retraction, front page, which is huge for a newspaper to do. Normally, retractions are a 7-page deal, right? They printed a retraction, front page, and they did not fire Gary Webb. They moved him to another station in a different city where he was doing obituaries. So, I mean, imagine you're a guy who was like on top of his game, your editor's praising you, you are about to uncover a huge fucking thing, and all of a sudden your reputation is destroyed, you are hours away from your family, and instead of writing like these fucking state capital fucking pieces, you are now writing Geraldine Francisco, aged 81, died Monday, survived by 5 children and 14 grandchildren. Her funeral will be held Thursday. Her family requests no Jews, no Mexicans.
Yeah.
I mean, what a fucking... Right?
An asshole.
So, he starts drinking. He starts cheating on his wife. He quits his job. He cannot get another job. He gets other jobs, like bit pieces with magazines. He gets crime beats. He never, ever gets the job he wants, which is investigative reporting, front page newspaper. Right? Mm-hmm. He does manage to get the story he was working on published as a book. Hold on while I find that really quick.
Why people hate Jews so much? Because I never understood it.
They're just all around, and they're a readily available minority. That's all. Mm-hmm. Gary Webb, what was his book? Dark Alliance was the name of his book. You can get that on Amazon if you have Dark Alliance by Gary Webb. You can get that on Amazon or someplace moral if it's available to you. It's about, and the thing is, he managed to get that published, and it got sufficient notice, attention that the Inspector General had to step in and investigate his claims, and the Inspector General said, "Yep, he's right about this." He didn't make, he was accused of making the most outrageous claims. People said that he was saying that the CIA was shipping in the drugs and giving them directly to the people to distribute. No. What the CIA was doing was telling the Mexicans, clear a path. Telling the DEA, clear a path. So that the narco-traffickers could get them into the U.S. And the CIA was saying, get them to these distributors and they will distribute them. That's all they were doing. It's a very mild thing. It only takes like a handful of operatives, which is what allowed the Inspector General to say, few bad apples. Nevertheless, Gary Webb never got the job he wanted back for the rest of his life. His life fell apart. Like I said, his marriage fell apart. About 10 years later, in the middle of the Bush administration, it got so bad that he had to sell his house and move back in with his mom. Now, I mean, we here in this Zoom channel, Mithril excluded, we kind of expect that. But this was a middle-aged man. He was a boomer in the Bush administration, so this would have been absolutely humiliating.
Mm-hmm.
And then one night he, before he has to move out of his house, he gets on his motorcycle, his last treasured possession, to go to visit his mom. And his motorcycle breaks down. A Good Samaritan stops to help him, said, "Hey, we'll get this off the street, and you can get someone to come pick this up and get it fixed for you." And you can guess what happens. Motherfucker steals his motorcycle.
Yep.
According to Webb's mother, he was black bit, right? Despondent, unresponsive. She couldn't, but he wouldn't call the police to report the theft. She couldn't even get him to agree to let her make him up a plate of bacon and eggs for dinner. He just went back to his house. The movers show up at his place the next morning. They find a note taped to the door. "Don't come inside. Call 911. They do. First responders find him in the bedroom, dead next to a handgun. You can see where the conspiracy theories start.
Mm-hmm.
Guy goes up against the CIA, winds up dead of suicide. 10 years later, after his reputation has already been destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not enough that he's dead of suicide.
Mm-hmm.
There is an oddity. It might surprise you to learn that suicide by gunshot occasionally involves multiple gunshots. Including multiple gunshot wounds to the head.
Yeah.
While looking into this, I learned about one suicide in Australia that would have been far over the top for a Seth Rogen movie. Like 40-year-old virgin, way too extreme kind of top over the shit, right? The Pineapple Express, if it weren't real. Of a guy who, with a shotgun, shot himself 5 times before he died. Like, shot himself, walked a couple hundred feet. Shot himself, walked a couple hundred feet. It wasn't until it's extreme. In order for a gunshot to cause rapid death, it has to either hit a major artery, the heart, or the brain. And those are not necessarily where people think they are. From what I was able to get out of the coroner's report, Gary Webb's first shot it would have been excruciating. It would have passed, he put the gun by his right ear, it would have passed beneath his eyes. Blinding, debilitating, painful, but not fatal in any sense.
I see, yeah.
The second shot, it says, struck an artery, from which I conclude he put the gun under his chin the second time. The conspiracy theorists... Oh, go ahead.
Well, it's like I'm commenting on the chat. There was we got some new viewers, and they're welcome. Will, why communism? I mean, maybe if we have time, we only do 90 minutes of the show, but like we, at least I'm a communist. John Pepperman is more of a mutual syndicalist kind of anarchist as well too. You're not opposed to communism though, as well too.
Because, no, I'm definitely a communist. I'm an anarchist.
Okay.
Yes, but I just think that there might be some way to mediate exchanges.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, I see. So you're in the way you're for
That's
currency.
that's the only way I'm a mutualist. I don't agree in any sense in accumulation of wealth.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. As well too. And Isaiah, how do you classify yourself? Because like I think you say you're anarchist now, so like, but you're not opposed to communism either, are you?
Not really. No, I'm
Okay,
not opposed to it as long as it works. As
right.
long as it works.
Yeah. And like, but the Squidpo just like entered the chat, and welcome to Squidpo from like the Jesse verse, and nice to like see you around here as well too. So, and like, the current topic is that like you were responding to
I've been going on. I've been talking about Gary Webb.
Gary Webb, yes.
Yeah. So Gary Webb, he definitely committed suicide. But the conspiracy theory, you can see a journalist goes up against the CIA. He dies of suicide. The conspiracy is right there. But it's not enough that he died of suicide. They have to say that he wasn't just shot twice in the head. He was shot twice in the back of the head. No, he wasn't. He was shot twice in the back of the head with his hands tied behind his back. No. Jesus fuck. Gary Webb's death was an absolute tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, every journalist, every member of government who was in any way related with that should be ashamed of themselves. But Gary Webb was not murdered or assassinated by the U.S. government.
Mm-hmm.
His death was caused by our neoliberal capitalist system because he was pushing against these systems of control, but he wasn't assassinated. Like I said, he was white. Pretty much every person assassinated by the U.S. government in the last 250 years has been brown. Some shade of. I mean... And the response I got a couple of days ago was just, right, I'm sure if Assange was in U.S. soil in his house at some point, his death would be suicide as well. But why? For exposing facts. The reporter broke the story of the Panama Papers also mysteriously died in an explosion. No ideas what he's talking about there. Well, but not have committed suicide, and he indeed did something which power wants to make clear everyone to stop doing, or you will suffer the same as Webb. Webb was indeed killed. Like Epstein was suicide as well before he ever had a chance to blow the whistle. Like the guy who invented a system for cars to run with water. He very unfortunately drank a drink that was very strangely packed with poison. Yep, and the 9/11 buildings fell straight down. It's like this motherfucker just goes every step of the way with every goddamn conspiracy theory.
Investigate Building 7. Investigate Building 7.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I mean, it would be nice to think that we on the left are not as full of dipshits as the clowns on the right, but...
No. We are. There's definitely some like Jill Stein stands and like anti-vaxxers or there's some bullshit some leftists can get into easily. Like many of us.
I mean, this motherfucker just went paragraph after paragraph after paragraph with every single fucking conspiracy theory. I think he mentioned JFK, Kirok. Kirok's in the audience. He wants to say hi.
Yeah.
But
yes,
I mean,
hello.
The U.S. government has assassinated people abroad and at home. Absolutely. But we have to be very careful. And I say this as someone who's fallen down rabbit holes. I fell down the Jesus mythicist rabbit hole for a long time. It's really easy.
Yeah, I never believed in conspiracy theories, but I've always thought they were I always thought they were like interesting that people, like believe some of them, like like moon landing denial. It's
they're very attractive.
Like Squid Pope said in the chat, actually, it was a good comment. It's the addictive,
the secret knowledge,
of secret knowledge, and knowing something that others.
It's a way of being special, and I think you're absolutely right, Squid. It's a way of elevating yourself. So now I'm gonna cough a lot, mute myself, and let you argue with Kirai a bit. Or if you want to invite him into the chat, so you can. I mean, or if you feel tired of that, I don't
Well,
know.
I don't know. 2 weeks in a row, Kirok, do you want to come on and we're to like, because like
Or
I
maybe
can
bring a
bring.
Squid Pope. Who's the Squid Pope? Or Will? I don't know who Will is. These are
Yes,
new
I don't know
people.
who Will is. Oh, that message is. Jesus, fuck Christ, my earballs. Sorry, like, John Barber doesn't have like a mute button. I luckily have a mute button, so like,
I can mute myself, but it takes 2 steps.
yeah, because like, okay, John Parker, just mute yourself into like OBS, and we will hear it as it will too, but like at least the audience
Muting
will hear it.
myself. Muting myself now.
Yes, not well, or that's another thing. Yes. Tag me in. Well, Sweat the Pope, I don't know you too well. My DMs are open in the Discord as well too, so like maybe you can reverse or I can check you out. We not like into like randomly bringing people on. Kurok has been on before, and I've like had engaged in DMs with like Kurok a lot, and we were just talking the Kurok and Isaiah, where we're talking to Steve Shives earlier because I'm a member and patron of Steve Shives' YouTube channel, and like I've been at Steve Shives like Patreon member hangouts since the 31st one, and today was the 112th one, so it's like fucking hell. It's like been like 6 years. um yeah, that's fair as well too. We're not used to just like randomly bringing in people on. We did one viewer colon show as well too, but we also did it through our Discord, so it's like trusted people that we know who are as well too. But the Discord link is down below, so like you can come and join the Discord and hang out there. Sometimes it's active, honestly. But to mainly to Kirok, if sure. If you want to come on to like give your statement and explain yourself as well too, you can, and but like your question is like the big thing is like you said, so Steve, one quick thing. You said that 4 times or 5 times throughout the call. So it was like, I thought that was one more quick thing. Oh, well, one more quick thing. Oh, well, one more quick thing. But the very last quick thing is just like, you expect that to be quick? Yeah. Okay. So for context, the Steve Shives and did his Patreon hangout, and it was a lot of fun.
That's
There
what
were a
she
lot of good
said.
conversation. Yes. And it was quick. Yes. It only takes a minute. Who told you that? National Lampoon Loaded Leopard 1. That was a good comedy movie. That was a great line from it. Anyway, and after the call, we were just hanging out with Steve as well too. Kirok was in there as well. Isaiah was in there as well for some time. But then like Kirok wanted to ask like more questions because then the topic of guns came up, and Steve has recently done 2 videos on like guns in America as well too, or USA. I haven't even watched those videos because I know Steve Shive's position. He's anti-gun. He's just anti-gun, and that's fair.
I'm not gonna say I'm anti-gun, but I do think like I think the reason why people own guns is pretty fucking stupid.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I'm gonna overthrow the government if they come and tell. It's like first of all, no, you won't because the military would be coming, and I don't know if you can. No, yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. Second of all, like a lot of it's like these people who want to say like they want to overthrow a tyrannical government, which they never really tell me what that means.
Mhm.
Yes, like yeah, like none of these people have ever said like like what said tyrannical government is supposed to be. It's just it's an amorphous tyrannical government, like in an amorphous
It's a
sense.
government that doesn't do everything they want and not everything they don't want.
Well, yeah. And by the way, when you said that, John, the way you phrased that made it almost sounded like that song that came out in the 90s. She's everything you want. She's okay. I-
Also, I gave you your Avril Lavigne avatar.
And that was Vertical Horizons, not Avril Lavigne, but yes, exactly. Counterpoint: a bunch of untrained like mud farmers in Vietnam defended against the world's most well-funded military machine. Yeah,
Well, I
exactly.
mean, yeah. If you're a Viet Cong, then the U.S. was the tyrannical government coming to take you. I mean, yeah, like they have this like weird like I guess fetish for like the revel like our history is like really like mythologized in this country. It's almost
Oh yeah.
it's almost it reminds me of like that Star Trek TNG episode Darmok where the race speaks in like metaphors and things, and it's like for like rednecks, it's like Washington on the Delaware, his flag furled, you know.
We
Oh
have
yes.
been very carefully constructing our history, mythology, the entire
Mm-hmm.
time. Never more so deliberately and carefully than when we were genociding the West.
Let's see. I don't Drills, of course. I don't agree with the ban guns position, but I feel it's more defensible than like no gun control also. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Someone says, 100%. We call for like the founders for a reason. Founders for a reason.
I love gun fondlers.
Okay, quick golf clap. I'm using that for now because that's the perfect. Because like, yeah, my issues on my position on guns is a bit more nuanced. There's way too many guns in the USA. I will agree with you with that. Something can be done about that. But the majority of people that have like 20 guns each, it sounds like they're the type that's never going to give up their guns. As the people that probably would go with gun buybacks and that sort of thing too, probably be the people who have just one handgun for protection or similar and that sort of thing too. It's hunting. Sure, people can have their guns for hunting. It's the glorification possible of infliction and violence. Yes, exactly. For those gun nuts or gun fondlers, that we're not going to call
There's
them.
also a distinction to be made for different kinds of gun fondlers. Like my
Yes.
dad has a gun safe, but he has a bunch of antique guns.
Yeah, like if it's
Mm.
like
Okay. Yeah.
like
So
for
I
me,
mean, he doesn't have like a bunch of different fucking hunting rifles and AR-15s and so on. He has like a gun from World War One, a gun from World War Two, that sort of thing. He's
yeah, like you know, like if you were to like have like a brown bess, like I don't know where the fuck you would get that, but like a brown, you know, like the musk, like that's not a problem if you want to have one of those. It's
I
just
mean, he
when like
does have more modern guns as well, but he has a bunch of antique guns too. It's for him. It's he's a Southern boy, and it's part of him being a hillbilly.
they coming to take my guns
No,
away.
it's about being a guy who would go out hunting, and
I've actually never,
it's occasionally you have to go out and kill a snake.
Mhm.
I've actually never hunted in my life,
Mhm.
So
so
Yeah.
I guess I'm not a real man then.
no,
What is a
don't
man?
don't ever
None
say
of my
that.
this will pile of secrets. That's the word too. But again, I will quote that every time because, like, yes, I love that scene. And
But
yet,
no,
Squid Go.
it's just he grew up in the hills, and he would go out and they would go
And
out
that's
hunting for ducks. They would go out and there'd be
Mhm,
snakes, and they'd go out. They would have the dog, and it's just
mhm.
he always wanted to move back to the hills, and he finally did. And
and I
part of
say
that
this
was getting guns, and
as the son of a father
he
who
never
actually
felt comfortable having guns in the house when he had small children.
Mhm. There's that.
So I mean, I don't begrudge him that.
like my dad served in the army.
Mhm,
He was in the Gulf War, but I don't remember like the '91 Gulf War. I don't ever
mhm,
remember him having a gun in our house.
mhm,
he wasn't like that.
And
So
I'm glad of that because
yes.
I don't think you should have a gun in the house around children.
Oh yeah, definitely for sure. Uh, so
At least I never found one. Like we have a lot of military in my family that I don't talk to. But
I mean,
yeah.
I really respect the way. I mean, like the Swedes, I think, and the Swiss.
Yeah.
There's a couple of those Danish countries. They treat it. There's that they have a mandatory military service, and they also have mandatory gun ownership. But the
Mhm.
gun is treated as kind of a sacred object.
Yeah, I think that the gun culture of that sort of thing,
It's
which
meant
is
to be something that is protected, to be cared
Mhm.
for, that is meant to be only used for this very specific purpose.
now this Switzerland, what's their? Because like I've heard some interesting things about Switzerland. What like they have like pill like what's the deal with them?
I don't know. I'm not in Switzerland.
They are very rigidly neutral, is what I
Mhm.
understand. such that I believe that the Vatican Guard is Swiss,
Yeah.
and they
Oh,
are
yeah.
rigidly mid. What's the between centuries? Renaissance. They carry pikes and shit, and yet
Yeah.
they're really really modern, despite carrying pikes.
Although
So
didn't Switzerland like condemn Israel though for its
I have no idea about that.
I
Probably not.
haven't felt have not been following the news at all. I'm late on my podcast by at the end of January, whereas like I'm currently on
I'm
with the
thinking
news
most
bucket.
of Europe has not condemned Israel. I think it's just South Africa
Yeah.
and maybe a few others.
Um, but like we were back to Kurok, and what he said, and like at the after the Ask Away was like off air and stuff like that, we're still in the call. And again, well, like I mentioned, Steve has two videos on like gun control. Like first one is
I
kind of his
definitely
statement.
watched the second one. I don't know if I watched the first one.
I
Yeah, I haven't watched either one of them but I'm interested in the second one because he was commenting to like a response as well too. I'm still in. For me, I'm kind of like just like the meme is like you'll left far enough, you get your guns back. But I'm interested to hear naturally, honestly, hear from someone like from like John Brown Gun Club or the Socialist Rifle Association.
Well, he was
Uh,
responding mostly to the idea of what about if you're marginalized?
yeah,
Like
and
a trans woman got an Uber, and the Uber driver didn't want to let her out because who knows why, and she
yeah.
had a gun in her purse, and he had to let her out.
Mhm.
That sort of thing. Um, and that's why, if you go far enough left, you get your guns back
well,
because
see,
the
that's
oppressed
the,
have to be able to fight back, which is
well,
something
yeah.
that the conservative liberals don't want.
When I agree with you on that, John, I don't like I said I'm not anti-gun. I'm just I just don't get the fetishization of guns. It's not
Uh,
that I'm against people owning some sort of protection. It's just
mhm. I actually I think that like I want to get the Liquid on again because like her dad was responsible gun owner but also like treated him very differently and like she has a very a good like stance a nuanced stance on like gun control or guns as a thing too and I think like so talking to at least someone that like has used guns and like trained on how to handle guns and handle gun well and she's a narco-communist as well too. So it's like it's always good to have political going on because like them and us we can talk for hours about like any random thing as well too, and go off on tangents as well too. So we'll probably like we can continue that conversation later on.
I want to talk about the incest subtext in Frozen.
No, we're not going to talk about the.
All right, let's talk about transhumanism and Terminator. No, RoboCop.
No, actually, well, we can have Linda Quinn on and we talk about that too because like they're transferring this as well.
let's talk about the class divide in Titanic.
Sherlock, my problem with you in the like you asked one quick thing, and so and we
It's the reverse gift gallop.
it's kind of well, no, kind of no, but like you then wanted to like ask Steve. Well, your final question is what annoyed me is what annoyed me is like 4 or 5 different like one more things to Steve, or one quick thing, and it wasn't quick. Because you asking Steve about like his position on guns when he laid it out honestly in 2 videos, and I'm thinking that like Steve's never going to change his position on guns, which is fine, honestly. I disagree. I kind of have some subtle disagreements with Steve on like gun issues as well too, because again I'm narco-syndicalist as war. But then Kurok, you then asked like Steve. So what if like we do gun reform or gun buybacks or gun control or blah 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 and police reform? You then ask, what about crime? Or no, your question is how can people protect themselves? To which was a good question from Steve. Protect themselves from what? Crime.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I just lost it. Because it's like, again, that goes back to fucking crime to you. You believe there are criminals here. criminals that can never be reformed, criminals that will always like be out to kill you or to do harm to others, as it were, and that's just a fact of life somehow. Oh, and you have to like deal with it as it were, as a factor, as like natural disaster, and just like they're always going to be there, and so like that. That's your deeply held, ingrained, firm belief that there are criminals that can't be changed, and that you have to protect everyone else from them. And thank you. This is good, Pope. Yeah, that's like good. And
now I am just by evolution. I have to acknowledge that there will always be the 1 to 2 or 3% of humanity that will always be psychopaths. There will always be those people who want to take advantage, who will just, whatever, shove, rob, rape, steal, beat, whatever, if they think they can get away with it.
Yeah.
I just think that we could live in a world that is structured such that we don't encourage people to behave that way. Where we don't allow people to get away with that.
Yeah.
Because right now, the Koch brothers are both, as far as I can tell, that. Trump is that. And
the ruling class is that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I want to try and structure things so that the 98% can thrive, and those 2% can fuck off and play solitaire.
Yeah. Which this can also come to.
And yes, Von Reich, be great, do crime.
Yes. Now, Will earlier in chat also asked why communists were. That can be an ongoing one. We can always answer that, but that's been part of the why, honestly, because like. Why is there? I guess Kirok, you deal with like the rough crowd as were, but like,
don't suggest that he goes to truck stops looking for gay sex.
As I guess you, Kirok, you believe that those people that you have to deal with at the store that you manage them, they're immutable, interchangeable. They always exist. They were born criminal, as it were, too. It's not criminal at birth, as it were, and it can never be changed. You're almost a fundamentalist in that way.
They will not betray one another, even if they would betray you.
Yeah. That's my issue with you, Kirok. Honestly, that's part of it. Is just like because like it always goes back to crime as were too.
The thing that the upper class will never acknowledge is that there is honor among thieves, because we find solidarity, we find humanity with those we suffer with.
Yeah, honestly, I gotta reread this book because like a few years ago, like Dumpster Flower, back when he made videos, did like interview DB Hunter, and his book Chav Solidarity, Chav being like a slang term in the UK. Okay, no problem, Mistral. Are you gonna make tea in the microwave? Is Chav is basically for like lower class people, thugs.
It's a white trash. It's what that means.
Yeah,
it's trailer
white
trash.
would be. Yeah, exactly. But like DB Hunter was talking about like his experiences of being in those kind of circles of like very much poverty as well too. Which also that was the question you asked like on the show proper or on air on the Patreon hangout as well too, which we can also address too. Which I promise you that we'll address on like stream now within the show within the last 40 minutes of like what is class or what is like defined as like poverty is defined as like middle class and defined as like upper middle class and rich class and stuff like that.
Baby, don't hurt me.
Yeah, don't hurt me no more. Yeah, what is love? Kirok, you said I don't live. That's okay. No. I don't live in fucking Maryberry. My congrats to you that no one has like suffered any crimes, racism, and prejudice, and that everyone lives in like a pleasurable society. But I live in the real world. You know what, Kirok? We kind of were touched on that in the hangouts. How conservatives
It feels like we're getting very negative at this point. That we're attacking across each other at this point. The fucking Mayberry. It feels like we're getting abusive, negative, and not constructive at this point. Like, I mean, Kirak, I live in a slum. I have to be careful where I walk my dog because he can cut his feet on broken glass. I live next to an airport. My door has fucking dents all in it. When I moved in, the kitchen wall had a fucking giant fucking goddamn hole in it that had to be patched in because, for the same reason, my mailbox, the door had to be replaced because some random asshole was an abusive piece of shit to whoever he lived here with before. Beat the crap out of the wall, beat the crap out of the door, beat the crap out of the mailbox. I mean, we live with these things. We don't all live in Pleasantville. We're all trying to figure this shit out together, dude. It's not Mayberry. None of us is in Mayberry. Geek works 70 hours a week trying to keep 3 fucking other people above water.
Yeah. And honestly, you can't really do that as well. And yeah, I'm hard on myself for doing that, even though many people would say that, no, you don't think you're doing enough. Sorry. Keep my composure. I want to. The thing is, like, honestly, Kirok, yeah, I kind of see more solidarity, maybe with the people you find to be the dregs of society as well too. Now, maybe I don't hang out with them as much, and if they say some transphobic stuff, then like I would have my issues with them as well too. On that, but if they're in like addicted to drugs, is because of like the world we live in. If they're like have to resort to crime in order to like get food to eat, then that's because of the world we live in. And which goes to the real question: why communism? Because I want to, and which Mitchell answered, we want a fairer world. And we believe that, like, I hate to see the criminals have, like, innocent people's in their lives. I see abuse. But why are those people doing those things?
I agree. One of the things I think about a lot is the Red Summer of 1919. Mm-hmm. A year where there was dozens of race riots. Mm-hmm. When white people just exploded into racist violence across the entire country. Chicago, San Francisco, Duluth. I mean, the entire United States was a fucking race riot. Mm-hmm. And it was white people in fear, in hunger, in pain, turning against their fellow victims. And instead of against the people who were actually responsible for their pain. Mm-hmm. So, yes, I can absolutely see... You should be afraid of your fellow victims, but you shouldn't blame your fellow victims, is what I would say.
And you did a stream on the Red Summer 2 years ago.
Once upon a time. I don't know if it was coherent or if any good.
It was good enough, as it were, too.
Oh, you actually found it all... Wow.
Okay. Well, YouTube has a feature where it's like within the channel you can search the Red Something like Red Summer.
You are on top of your game, geek.
So I know how to have certain features.
I don't know if I've come up with any new insights since then, but
yeah, exactly.
Go nuts.
Joe McClure says, I work within the antisocial and we project ourselves from without weapons by using teamwork. That is the answer for how we protect ourselves without guns or cops community. I agree, Joe McClure.
The only time I've ever felt scared while driving with Uber, I managed to get the guy out of my car because he wanted cigarettes, so I dropped him off at a gas station and drove away. So there's that.
Mm.
I mean, I've been irritated many times while driving Uber. I've only been scared once, and never resorted to violence.
Yeah.
And I've been doing it almost a year.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, I'm not often the most friendly to like the unhoused in Seattle because there's a lot of unhoused people. But
I want to
I'm also
say
like,
we should house them. We have
yes.
ample resources. We have far more homes without people than we have people without homes.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have not been the most friendly in the past to the unhoused.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, sorry to interrupt. Keep going. Keep going.
How's it? Well, I'm also not kicking them
Bye,
as
bye,
well too.
Pope.
Bye, Pope. Thank you. And come back as well too. Like we don't
Yep, that was good to
usually.
have you.
Yeah, we not always like get this emotional on here as well too, but like I'm passionate about like the changing the world for the better, and I firm this is my firm belief is that like capitalism in any form is bad or at least like exploitative as well too. So I don't agree with like having just a little bit of capitalism around with like even small businesses because like it's like to a philosophical point of like hierarchy of like the class workers and just hierarchy in my opinion, and I don't think I will change that opinion anytime soon. Um, don't see myself changing in my that opinion anytime soon. It's and it's like I don't believe that there are inherent criminals as well too. It's more of like just circumstances as well too, and a failed society that like either they forces people to resort to those crimes and to hurt others because they're hurt themselves, or because they're in poverty and have to like resort to that sort of thing too. Which is why I'm like for communism and against capitalism because capitalism requires there to be poverty in order for like a capitalism to function. But if we can, we can say on the gun culture or gun topic. Well, I think we discussed that enough. We can say on the top the crime, and but like we've discussed that enough. But we can move from capitalism to like the next point that like Kirok asked on like the Patreon hangout of like how do you define classes as well too? Like what is middle class and what is like upper middle class and what is like rich and what is like poor?
I
What is
think those are artificial lies
yeah,
meant to distract the working class from the real class war.
yeah,
That would be the really easy Marxist answer. And I
hmm
think most communists would agree with that.
yeah.
There is no middle class, there is just the working class and the capitalist class.
There's that definitely. You could break the if you want to like delineate amongst the working class. And actually,
You can have the
I
Lumpenproll and the PMC,
yes,
but
professional managerial class.
yes, that is something that always has to be stressed because every time I hear it, I always think, wait, private military contractors? What?
RPG. Are we talking about rocket propelled grenades or role playing games?
But yeah, basically, you always are going to have, and then there's the also confusing thing about the petite bourgeoisie,
Yes.
which are distinct from the PMC.
Yeah.
So there is no middle class. There's
Yeah.
working class and there's capitalists.
I agree. As but even based on like that is like the people who own property or who own like small businesses or own something does own capital and are capitalist class and everyone else working class. The Edgar own right. I'll type that name out as well. Um, is he has done a couple of books about class and examining classes, and I think it's very useful because like
Eric
he
Olin Wright.
Eric Owenreich, yeah. He has passed away, unfortunately, but like he has a lot of books. One just on gold classes.
So many dead communists.
Yes, exactly. But you probably can type that name into like YouTube and find some like YouTube videos to go to, because his books are good, but it's also like I was thinking of reading some of them on like stream, but unfortunately they have like charts on it as well too, which is fine for visual medium. But if I want to take
Jewish.
Yes.
Look at that hair. Look at that hair.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's just stereotypical to like point out a Jewish person by their looks and something like that, but he just like no, he fits the bill, honestly. But I like.
I mean, you could use that head to scrub a. He would scrub a pan. Let me tell you.
Yes. Now, I love how he does break down like that sort of thing as well too, so that like kind of examines petty bourgeoisie and how they are petty bourgeoisie and stuff like that. Where it's like they don't really, they do own capital, but they're not as powerful as like the people.
Yeah. The petite bourgeoisie, they own capital, but they still have to work.
Yeah.
So basically, a capitalist is someone who owns enough property that their property brings them enough income that they don't have to work.
Mm-hmm.
A petite bourgeoisie is somebody who owns capital, but not enough that they cannot get away with not working. Petite bourgeoisie would be like an individual restaurant owner.
Yeah.
They still have to work. Hey, Garak.
We were talking about like classes, what define like middle
working class, petite bourgeoisie, private managerial, no, something managerial class.
No, the professional managerial.
Professional
class.
managerial class, yes.
PMC,
capitalists. Yes. So capitalists, they own enough property that they don't have to work. Petite bourgeoisie, they own capital, but they still have to work. So, individual restaurant owner, a guy who owns a machine shop, a contractor who cannot just sit back and let his workers work for him.
Yep.
So Tony Montana, no, not Tony Montana, Tony Soprano is part of the bourgeoisie.
Dude, Kirk, what is your okay? So you say fuck the government. You're anti-government.
Yeah. You're correct. The capitalism relies on the government.
That's true. Yes.
But there's no such thing as anti-government. Government is society.
Yes.
It's like 2 people have a conversation, 3 people have an argument, 4 people have lunch, 5 people have government. I mean, as soon as you have multiple people, you have to have government. Yeah.
And also, like, that doesn't mean that you have to have government, that you have to have a state, which goes into us as anarchists, that we are against the state because the state is like an institution that has the monopoly on sanctioned violence as well too, like the police domestically and the army militarily, or the internationally or foreign. Because like, and you're right that like the state is required for capitalism to exist, because how else are you going to enforce like property rights or property
rights,
laws,
roads, markets, all that shit is. Yeah. But I mean, it's. I think it's a fantasy to be anti-government. The liberals, the ANCAPs, are just. It's a fantasy.
Well, Kira, which is why I'm an anarchist for direct democracy, where it's like instead of like representative democracy that we have now. And I hate when people even sound like, "Oh, we're not a democracy, we're a republic." Okay, publicly, we democratically elect our representatives. Okay, so it's just like you're being pedantic by saying we're a republic, and which is true, yes, but that still does not change that. Like, I want our system to be different than it is now.
And our current system is not democratic or Republican. I mean, we already. A study from it was a couple of years ago demonstrated that it does not respond to the will of the people at all. It responds only to the will of the oligarchs.
Yeah, it's only Yeah, and this goes. Was this on like air on the Patreon Hangout? I think it is, or was it like after the fact? After we went off the air, I forgot this. Like, our views are.
Uh,
It's,
you shouldn't
uh,
have to choose between Biden and Trump. You should
yeah.
recognize that Biden is better than Trump, but neither one is a good choice. We agree with you there, dude.
hmm
Um,
but the system only allows for like because like not only is there like the primary system, which not everyone can
there's
like
the
join
party
in.
system followed by the
Right.
oligarch system. But
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Biden and Trump are not the good, and Eddie Murphy's not a good choice either.
And also like here, like honestly, we have no president as well too. Blah blah. Um, and like but like it's
No president should. We shouldn't have any president. A
yeah.
single voice is not a good thing,
hmm
ever. I mean, we should have a parliamentary system. We shouldn't have this bicameral shit. We should have like a 10,000 member legislature at the
hmm
federal level. We should have for a global legislature of like 50,000 people, and
Now,
then
if we have our friend like Bonrek on, and he said, "Oh, you complain about your system or not, but like your system is better than like Russia, which just has like an oligarch in charge. It's a word too." And granted, yes, like we at least have two options and two terrible options in Biden and Trump, a fascist and a pro genocide person. But like so, democracy is on a sliding scale. As like there are some places that are more democratic, some places less democratic.
Mhm.
Russia is less democratic than USA, but USA is less democratic than something like New Zealand that has mixed proportional representation,
Yep.
as well as like in their parliamentary system.
And I don't think Eddie Murphy is better than. Honestly, I love Eddie Murphy. He's a fantastic comedian. He's probably a wonderful
hmm
guy.
hmm
But I don't think he is prepared to lead a nation.
Yeah.
I don't think he's prepared to be in that position. I don't think anyone should be in that position, but I don't think he's better in that position than Biden or Trump.
Yeah. So
I
because
mean, it's
remember,
like, I don't think anyone should be driving a tank, but I don't think Eddie Murphy should be driving a fucking tank.
hmm
I mean, Eddie Murphy is
yeah,
Eddie Murphy's probably a wonderful human being.
I don't even know what his politics are like.
I mean, I've seen Eddie Murphy Raw. I've seen Doctor Dolittle. I think he is probably pretty fantastic.
It's now. I'm curious now with his like growing up black. He probably would be generally speaking. He'd be progressive.
I think I
But I
think
wonder if he's
he
rich enough now
Don't
to
put
be
words in our
like
mouth.
what?
Don't put words in our mouth.
no
Sorry.
he did a lot to bring up black voices. He brought up remember Coming to America.
Yeah.
There was the guy who tried to rob the McDowells. That was motherfucker Samuel L. Jackson.
hmm
He Eddie Murphy got a lot of black actors and black comedians on the screen, and he did a lot to elevate black voices. He did a lot, so I think he did a lot behind the scenes as well as doing a lot of clowning on camera. I think he did minstrel where he had to so that he could be Harriet Tubman.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Mhm. But like it's so Kirok, whatever. Vote for however you want to. I judge people who vote for the Republican Party and who vote for Trump for sure, absolutely. Well, I won't judge people who vote for Biden because yeah, lesser of two evils, and it's just like for the president, your vote don't really matters. And like swing states, it's worse. Like I don't know if I am going to vote for Biden in 2024. I didn't vote for him in 2020 because like Washington State was going to go for Biden most likely. But even when like the Washington State went to like Hillary Clinton in 2016, four of our electorates did like were voted for someone else. That's where too. Withdraw their vote and vote for another. They were faithless electors. as well too, because electoral college, and that's where it's like, yes, with the electoral college and like 2 senators per state, that's where it's like that's one of the knocks against like America's democracy as it is, that like we are less democratic than other places like Canada, brought up New Zealand as well too. But I'm sure Groundhog, if she was here, would say like there's like issues in like New Zealand with like New Zealand politics as well too, probably because of money in politics and because there's always conservatives or always like fascists in politics as well too. And if you refuse to vote to either one, that's fine. But like I linked a video from Anarch that says the video title is "Voting Doesn't Work," which and ultimately voting is a distraction because we're over changing. It's like who is our leader in our system as well too. We're not changing like the system as it is, and like the problems and issues we have with the system are so fundamentally held to the system as we're anarchists and anarchists after all, that it's voting is well you can vote for initiatives, and like some states have initiatives that work, and that's where you can do direct change as well too. Hello, John P.
JGP!
And I think that like it definitely is useful to like vote for local candidates as well too, because like that's only like city councils and mayors and maybe like county seats and so on. You can actually get actual socialists in those positions as well too. Those socialists will still have a big uphill battle in trying to do anything, because I always go back to like Alexander Berkman's chapter 15 in What is Communism and Anarchism, or the ABCs of Anarchism. It's like, yeah, you can get the one socialist into the Senate, Bernie Sanders, or the one socialist into Parliament too, and maybe they'll do
Bernie
like
Sanders is not a socialist.
I will agree with you there. He's just an example of a social democrat.
He's a social democrat.
Yes, I agree with you there. But like, it's more or less, honestly, if you manage to get one socialist into like the system as well too, they'll maybe do a protest vote and maybe make their great stand speech. But most often, they're going to like vote with and caucus with whoever else that's like.
They'll be like the Democratic Socialists.
Yes, exactly.
Democratic Socialists used to actually be socialists, and then they betrayed the socialist movement because they were comfortable.
I mean, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she's the most progressive that like you can get from Congress, possibly. But maybe maybe she leaves more progressive, so too.
AOC,
but,
the Squad, Bernie, they are the furthest left you can expect, and they are still right of center.
Yes, and
let the iron dice roll.
Yeah.
Is the podcast / YouTube channel that talks about the collapse of the Kaiserreich into the Weimar Republic, and how the Democratic Socialists betrayed the Socialists. It's upsetting, but informative. And why you should not trust people in power. And always, always trust the workers. And that's why Lenin is a piece of shit.
Yeah. Again, I should like.
And you have the link right there. God damn it! You are the Scarlet Pimpernel. God damn.
I have my second mod there over here. Type in the Iron Dice. And had that YouTube channel. There were two YouTube channels, so but it just the other one was like let the dice roll. So it was like, oh wait, no, that's they're D&D one. This is the historical podcast one. Here we go. There we go. Dan Arrows, I think. Is that like
Dan Arrows? 3 arrows. That's the one.
There's 3 arrows. Okay, so I figured it like it was like close to the 3 arrows. 3 arrows is so awesome. I should watch more of his stuff, honestly.
No, he's amazing. He's amazing.
Yes. Is he actually a historian, or is he just like studies history?
I think he's just a studious German.
Yeah, so that's the thing about like being autodidactic as well too. You can just like Norm Chomsky is a professor of linguists as well too, languages as well too. However, he reads a lot, or used to read a lot, so and he really studied politics. So like when he like makes like political stuff, he's really astute about that. He's gotten more liberal in his age as well too. I mean,
he's moved further to right. Yeah. He's gotten too comfortable.
Yeah, well, it's like I don't blame him for saying vote for Hillary, because he would always say a vote for Hillary is not a vote for Hillary. A vote for Hillary is like not a vote, is a vote against Trump as well too. And I understand that position as well.
Yeah, I mean that's true.
but I understand the Project 2025 is a thing, but that's probably going to be Project 2029, honestly, too. So it's like, vote however you want to for the president if it will make a difference, if you feel like it will make a difference as well, too. I'll judge you for voting for Trump as well. I want to make that statement clear. The saying that, like, go ahead and vote how you want to does not mean I will encourage you to vote for Trump.
Vote how you want to. Vote around the world.
Yeah, I agree. Pete never trusts people in power, like who craves it as well too. That's why I'm against the positions of power existing anyway. Even though small businesses is like small power, it's like a little power like over the.
That's why I want every elected position to not be elected, but to be chosen at random from the entire population.
Yeah, right. Even like military operations, so too. Like
why would we need military operations if there's no governments?
But
okay, obviously we'll have to have police, I guess, but there'll be nurses.
Social workers, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Well, nurses and social workers, no more cops. Oh my God! Can you imagine how much safer the world would be if the world were patrolled by nurses?
Yeah.
Just these, like, oh my God, these stern 40-year-old women with these soft, gentle shoes. Walking around saying, do you really need to be out here? You could be in bed. You could be in bed. Okay, I mean, no. It's the gas station's over there. You can get a vape. Okay, yeah, no, but you should be in bed. You can get a spicy pickle. Okay, yes. But you should be in bed.
We don't have ambulances patrol. Not that I think that is necessary, because like there was ambulances response. I don't know. I never like.
The ambulances here in Greenville, they tend to stay in central locations and then go where they need to. Yeah, and that means they typically park in shopping malls, which is really disturbing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But like the firefighters will say, "Hey, people are happy to see us as well too." Which was it on air and Steve's Josiah's members hang out? I think it was, where we kind of like discussed that as well too. Whereas like at the tail end, that like no is in everyone's.
That's partly because firefighters never kill anyone and they're sexy.
Yes, they never kill anyone. Yes, that's very true. But also is in everyone else's benefit if like someone's house that's on fire is put out. Hey, why do I care about that person's house?
Whereas if a cop shows up and fires into one person's house, they might fire into your house too. That doesn't help.
Yeah, no, that doesn't help things as well too.
Cops just make everything worse. Cops are bad. Cops should not exist. Bad. Bad. Wait, why are you not hissing? Hiss.
What is like
the Avatar is really good at mimicking speech, but it's not even hiss.
So that I thought you were talking to Sasha because Sasha was right there.
No. I got Wesley right here. He's a sleepy boy.
Okay, yes. But what was I going to say next? Well, there was like, you know what? Like in the final 12 minutes, as it were, there was like, just an interesting comment that like was said on a stream, but like we're calling back to Men in Black, the first one, where Will Smith's character Jay just learned that like aliens exist, and that like the Men in Black are covering up the existence of the aliens, and the aliens walk among us. To where he said, hey, why not just tell the world? Like, I mean, people are smart. A person is smart. People are dumb, panic animals, and you know it. But it's like...
Well, the thing is, we get used to shit so fucking easy. Look at fucking COVID.
Yeah.
We got used to a 9/11 every other day.
I mean, religion is kind of like aliens. It's a belief in high power. It's the same thing. It's just in this case, the aliens would technically be real. They're just I mean, like no, because like the Mormons already believe that anyway. Like
that's true. Yeah, it's true. Honestly,
it's their own planet, right?
Yes, he does have his own planet. And with
you know what? Men in Black was a good movie.
It was a good movie. No, absolutely.
The first one, the second one, the third one, or the fourth.
The first one, second one, not so much. Third one was.
I haven't seen.
Honestly, the Men in Black trilogy mirrored Godfather in that way.
Yeah, there was that was brought up. Hold on, like Joe repeat back to firefighters. That was brought up in our hangout this morning, and Joe McCoy even said that like at the time of Rome, the richest person in Rome was the fire chief, as were to because like
Mm-hmm.
so many people paid him to like put out their fires at the houses.
It was pure capitalism.
And that was good business to be in if you're in the service of putting out fires, as were too, because like
You
people
show
would
up,
pay.
you buy the property, then you put the fire out.
Yeah, and no, yeah, that's like true because like, which is why privatized firefighters is like a terrible idea, honestly, because like, yeah, it's like, yeah, the market will be terrible and sourcing that out as well too.
You know,
Because
one of the most wonderful things about being alive is that Ayn Rand is dead.
and yet, at the end of her life, Ayn Rand was relying upon like the government systems of benefits as well to prolong her life.
She's dead. Let's just be glad.
It's a good thing, yes. But like, it's ironic that she rails against like government like welfare and stuff like that, and welfare to of the regular people, not the corporate welfare. But yet she benefited from that same welfare system that she was against anyway. And yeah, but she's dead now.
Drop some bacon on it. Call it steampunk.
But like, so to the. That's unfortunately like people. This example is brought up on stream because of like social media as it were too. But I now these people they're actually my friends or like their friend and a friend of a friend. That's is mentioned brought up in Black in that scene as well too. But I kind of hate that quote because like if you believe that people are dumb panicky animals. Not that they make this conclusion. They probably just like they're dumb family animals. Will just have to live with it. They're not going to like do anything about that. But some people, if they believe that people are dumb panicking animals, they'll be like follow up with like, and that's why we need to control them. And they hate, which is why I hate to think that people are just dumb panicking animals. That's word too. It's reductive as well too. But I think a lot of people who seriously believe that as well too. Oh, because like if you believe people are dumb animals, that will lead to I do not trust people, and just you're a liberal, and thus like you need government, state as were to control things. You people cannot run themselves. You have to have a representative. You have to vote for to like and trust them to like legislate for you in your favor as well too. Which we know in practice that doesn't happen as well too. Back to why we're against capitalism because like. You can never have capitalism you can never have democracy when there's capitalism because people can just buy the votes or like whoever has the most money that will win the election as we're more or less.
How fortunate that all that happened all at the same time.
Yes. Oh, by the way, hello, Lycidia. Sorry that you're going through a rough time. So right, it's not treating you well, but so glad you're here.
Oh, sorry,
like,
Lycidia.
She mentioned that earlier in the chat as well. She, her is your pronouns, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. But if we prioritize the firefighters, they can be organized better and have shiny uniforms and be more economical. Sarcasm.
If we privatize the firefighters, then they could have butt plugs that vibrate all the time.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a TV show that happens. We'll call it Unicorns because they'll always be at attention. They'll have the horns upright.
Okay, thank you for sharing in the city.
She.
I use one of the correct pronouns. Good. You need the ruling class to have some kind of distinction from those rules. Therefore, the ruling class has breeding and defined rights to govern over the sinful nature of humans.
I mean, the liberal revolutions of the 17th and 18th centuries were just the replacement of the aristocracy of blood by the aristocracy of coin. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all this. The British Civil War and like French Revolution and the U.S.
The Glorious Revolution, they called it, not the British Civil War. Come on. Get your shit together.
Okay. So, and well, I don't know if you're still here, but like, why we're communists, again, that can be its own show, and we talk a lot as words because, like, yeah, we don't believe capitalism works or only works for the capitalists, as we're too. But even as the Steve Shies was discussing Steve Shies like hangouts as well too, amongst the liberals as well too, that like the capitalist is like capitalist is not good for capitalists either as well too, or at least not the fully like unhinged or like unreformed or unregulated.
I mean, it's good for Elon Musk insofar as he is allowed to descend into insanity.
But eventually, as Karl Marx did like lay it out and like pointed out to, it's a race to the bottom because like eventually there'll be even everyone right now with inflation, and that's because the corporations setting the prices very high and getting away with it. That like everyone's like too poor to buy the next iPhone as well too. So. Which is why I'm afraid that like that's the only way we're going to get the UBI universal basic income because like we'll only get that so that we can buy.
I hate
iPhone
so much the idea of UBI.
Yeah,
I mean, all that will be is just here's enough to meet rent.
Yeah, exactly. And that's Andrew Yang's position as well too. And even though I know that like many progressive liberals like Steve are in for UBI for good reasons, and
I understand they're not good reasons; they're understandable reasons.
But it's like we shouldn't need a UBI in order to like buy food. It's like either have cap on prices like
food, housing, healthcare, clothes.
Yeah,
human fucking rights.
Yeah, just like grant them as human fucking rights.
Then why would people work? Fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why I hated Kirok and Russell bringing up the second example as well too. Because Kirok, I'm just gonna say this: I think you just hate the idea of someone just like being lazy and just like sitting around doing nothing.
I'm working on my helmet for my spacesuit. I'm not being lazy.
No, you are passionate. That's exactly what I expect of most people. And Elon is not descending into insanity. He is just he is doing the negative version of Isaiah.
Yes. And in many cases,
Isaiah is pursuing his passion. Elon is doing the same. Elon is just an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah, yep, I got my money's there. I must be like moral and have like the breeding and the identity love me. And there I have authority over you. Yeah, exactly. And in many cases, the Socrates of blood became the Socrates coin. Yes, exactly. So yeah. Hey, look at that! We covered like a. Wait a minute, did we start the show like not too late? We were streaming for like 80.
I was on time plus 10.
You were very much on time. I was a little annoyed that like I have to like join the call and join the show, but like Russell asked one more thing of Steve and was his crime. It's just oh god.
And Isaiah was here.
So like we reached the 90-minute mark, and Squid Pope, thank you for jumping in. You're already gone as well too, but like I got your DMs, and so like yeah, you sound cool. So like I don't know what we can come on and talk about. I'm not sure.
Squid Monk, whatever. I want to hear more from you.
Sure. Yeah.
Squid. Where's it? Pope. Squid Pope.
Yes.
That was awesome.
Wait a minute. Do I know your pronouns? Do you have in your profile pic? Because that's always like a useful as well too. He, him. Okay, excellent. He's a zombie from Jesse Gender's like Discords where I'm on in that.
Yay! Crossover with Jesse Gender. We're becoming famous.
Well, Jesse actually knows who I am too, and it's happy to see me whenever I show up
and Jesse Jenner knows and works with Steve Shives, and Steve knows who you are, and Steve knows who I am. So we're like 3 degrees away from famous. Yay!
Jesse is great.
No, I should watch more of Jesse Jenner's videos as well too. Some of the videos that like she has put up on her main channel and second channel are quite interesting as well too.
And Jesse is awesome.
I think Jesse is very attractive and awesome.
Yes.
Wow, way to be a stereotypical black guy.
No.
Sorry.
Drop off it. No. Anyway, that's a gentle slap and all like good fun as well too.
Yes.
But
That's me
like,
being a dick.
mhm. So, but like, speaking of like YouTube and other things like that, Isaiah Taylor, you have two YouTube channels: the Sinister Intelligence channel and the Autistic Modeling Society. You also have your Instagram, Isaiah.Taylor60.
Yes.
Is oh, you're still working on your spacesuit as well too. For your cosplay of the first
Do
African
you
American in
have any
space.
recent photos you'd like to share?
Going.
What are you working on next?
I don't. I'm still working on my space station too.
Nice.
Nice.
So, do I got any pictures?
And how's your Titanic coming? Did you
I've,
finish
I've
that?
I actually haven't touched it in a while. I have a lot of projects I'm working on, so
That's cool.
Busy, busy, busy.
yeah.
There's your
Oh, that's a
spacesuit.
good. That's a
Nice.
spacesuit. Good night, Mistral. Thank you for coming out and like hanging
Hey,
out. Must
Mithro.
appreciate.
Just check
Good.
on Facebook, and I plan on wearing it to the Kennedy Space Center because they have
Do they
something
have a
called a.
cosplay day, or are you just gonna be really weird?
It's gonna be really weird.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, and they have a space shuttle launch experience or something like that where you can actually like with experience, I guess, a shuttle launch. I guess I'm trying to, I don't know.
Like, would they give you the full cheese, or?
Yeah, it's like a ride.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
So like it's like that. Yeah, they've actually had actual shuttle astronauts on it, and they've said that it reminds them of actually going in a shuttle. Now, of course, it's not as long as an actual launch, but yeah, I
Okay.
mean,
So it's more a roller coaster than an actual launch into space, I
yeah,
guess.
like
Still cool, honestly, if you ask me.
it's not a anything. It's I don't know how they do it, but if you type in Kennedy Space Center Space Shuttle Launch
Hmm.
Experience, they'll yeah. It's like that they put you in a pod
Hmm.
and they'll like it's I don't know how they do it. It's apparently people say it's realistic. The astronauts say it's really realistic. So that's
They probably like move out around that thing as well too, and they
yeah.
have like it's like at like the Star Wars adventures in like Disneyland well before like the Disney bought Star Wars as well too. They
Oh
have a
yeah,
lot more attractions now.
but this is much more fun than that.
Okay, yeah, but I'm saying it's like these
Yeah.
because our human brains will see these images on screen as well too that's projected onto us, but then the thing's also moving around too. Our brain is making the association as well too, which is also why sometimes like people get like motion sick when like those things and don't enjoy those kind of rides as well too. I have a lot of punches going on. Is Big tell me that you are autistic without telling me you are autistic? Yes, exactly, Joe McClory.
What?
And Joe McClory is just commenting how you said I have a lot of projects going as well too, which is a big tell that you're autistic without like telling us that you're autistic, even though
Right.
you have
Well,
told us you're autistic as well too.
also tell them too that I'm also working on a movie script too, which I'm gonna
That's
probably
right, you are.
walk with later. So
Yeah.
Kirok, if there wasn't if people weren't getting paid to work, I don't know if he's still on the chat, but people would still probably work. I mean, there are probably
Yeah.
some people who would be lazy. I don't know. You know, I don't really believe human beings are lazy. It's not really in
Yeah.
our genes to do that. I mean, we've
Yeah.
always, when we were hunters and hunter gatherer, nomadic herders and people,
Mhm.
people were always doing something. No one was
Mhm.
just sitting around.
Yeah.
It's like it's now like the problem now is like people are working and slaving their lives away and they're not having time for them, and it's fueling our mental health and all these problems. And
I haven't mentioned this yet, but like on Friday, I was given a task to do. Can you get this like by tomorrow morning? This is a big project that requires me to do a lot of work, and you want to be ready by tomorrow morning. So I did finish that project actually, and but I decided to like, I kind of volunteered to stay up all night Friday night so I can work late Friday night and then come in early on Saturday morning as early as I can and got in at 6 a.m. I finished the project in case I didn't finish the project on Friday night, but I did stay up much late to say work later than I wanted to, like 11 p.m. And I got into work on Saturday morning at 6 a.m. because that's the earliest I could get into work. but the project was already finished. But it was a good thing I was there by 6 a.m. because something else did actually need me to be there to like do and to finish kitting up as well too, so that people can work on it. I have to have a conversation with my supervisor. Please do not schedule people to come in and work overtime on Saturday when the job is not even kitted. He scheduled people to come in on Saturday and then came to me and asked if I can have that project ready for those people to come in on Saturday to do. So that's why I'm fucking tired and probably a bit like on edge as well too. But speaking of myself, I'm Summer Geek, the Scarlet Pimpernel to the left, because I can easily quickly pull up like a link to like John Brockman's stream of Red Summer.
He's everywhere. You cannot see him.
I mean, I'm mostly see.
You cannot even see their gender.
My gender's whatever I want it to be. Yes. As I didn't even bring up like Aslan's like everyone check out Aslan Roland. I think it's like back here. Hold on, like there's YouTube channel Aslan. You may have remember him as Music Man Mike or Michael Rollins. That's his old name, his dead name. He's now Aslan Rollins. They are non-binary. And they were on a anti-feminist, anti-trans podcast, interesting enough. And so that's quite interesting because they're managed to record it. That's good because the anti-feminists that they were talking to, unlisted, that's like live chats, like that stream that they did. But now you can watch Aslan kind of like go over what they did well, what they did not well in that debate, and it was quite interesting. I've been enjoying it as well too. But still, check out Aslan. Aslan's been doing quite a bit of stuff as well too. So do check out Aslan Rollins and their Twitter. Because Aslan's cool people as well too, and New Zealander too. Anyway, I'm Summer Geek on Twitch, YouTube, Tumblr, co-host, Blue Sky, Twitter. I will, once I get off this call, MP, and maybe I probably should actually get myself something to eat. I'll probably quickly make some bagel bites as well too and stuff my face with those. I will be streaming. I'm gonna stream some Stardew Valley because I want to talk about a lot of different things, and I could play Fortnite and grind Fortnite, but sometimes when I'm in a Fortnite match, I can't really talk about what I'm talking about because I'm concentrating in the match as well too. But with Stardew Valley, I can pause the game and oh yeah, Aslan's great. With Stardew Valley, I can pause the game and talk about what it is I want to talk about, and maybe going more in depth about all those other things because I'm interested in talk about those things. But then, man, my throat's also sore, so maybe I don't know. I'm definitely gonna be streaming on YouTube and Twitch. I just don't know what. Maybe Stardew Valley, blah. And also, John Brockman, you're part of another podcast, aren't you?
Indeed, Dungeons and Debacles. We are fighting to save the world from an evil red dragon cult. I want to change from being a southern preacher to a cat bard. We'll see.
Yeah.
I want to stop being a cop and start being an anarchist. That's what I want to say.
Yeah.
Cat bard. Cat bard.
Yeah, cat bard. And share the links up page, please. Check out.
Always help our friends if you can.
Yeah.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, everyone. Take care. Practice self